Get ready, America. The brands you've always thought of as pure Americana, the ones that have become part of our country's story, are about to take a turn you might not expect. For decades, we've honored these legends, watched them roll by in parades, and relied on them to get us where we need to go. They're more than just businesses. They're emblems of American determination, creativity, and spirit. But now, even the iconic Ford trucks, those tough machines that have long ruled our roads and fueled the pride of small towns, are heading in a new direction. It's no longer just about raw power or shiny exteriors, it's about where these trucks and the jobs that make them are going next. And it's not the kind of journey we're used to. This time, Ford and John Deere, two pillars of American manufacturing and rural strength for over 100 years, are making the difficult decision to shift some of their key operations overseas. This move is sending ripples through towns that have counted on these factories for generations, and it's sparking tough questions about what Made in America really means in today's global marketplace. This isn't just about vehicles and tractors coming off assembly lines, it's about a piece of our national identity rolling away. For countless families, these brands are about tradition, community pride, and the hope of steady work. When those jobs leave, it's not just the paychecks that vanish, it's a sense of home, a tie to the land, and a chapter in America's story that feels like it's ending. Before you jump onto social media and start assigning blame, whether it's politicians, trade agreements, or the latest news, let's take a breath. It's tempting to get swept up in the arguments, to pick a side and dig in. But the truth is, this story is bigger than any single policy or party. It's about evolving markets, new technologies, and the hard decisions companies must make in a world that's more connected and more competitive than ever. So let's dig deeper into what's really going on, because as always, the reality is more complex than a headline or a tweet. To truly grasp what's at stake, we need to look past the surface and examine the forces transforming American industry, and what that means for all of us. Whether you're driving a Ford, working the fields with a Deere, or simply watching these changes unfold from your own front porch. Ford, John Deere. These brands evoke the spirit of American resilience, creativity, and relentless effort. For decades, they've been part of our daily lives, shaping the vehicles we travel in and the meals we share. They symbolize the American dream, the belief that perseverance and dedication can turn ambition into reality. Yet, times have shifted. Global markets, rapid technological change, and new economic pressures have brought unprecedented challenges to American manufacturing. Let's face it, no matter how much a company wraps itself in the stars and stripes or how deep its American roots run, the real allegiance is to profit. Corporate America may talk a big game about values and national pride, but when the numbers are on the table, it's the shareholders who get their loyalty. The language of business isn't patriotic, it's financial. In the end, the decisions made in those sleek boardrooms are about dollars and cents, not sentimental memories. Patriotism might look good in an ad, but it rarely stands a chance against the hard math of global markets. Right now, those calculations are pointing far from home. The global marketplace has thrown open its doors, and American companies are eager to step through. It's not just about reaching new customers, it's about slashing expenses, boosting productivity, and staying ahead in a cutthroat world. Ships and planes depart from U.S. shores, not just to deliver goods, but to chase higher returns wherever they exist. The pursuit of profit has become borderless, and companies are following the money to wherever it leads. Across Asia, the business climate is tailor-made for investment, lower wages, fewer restrictions, and governments eager to offer tax breaks and incentives. It's a landscape built to attract foreign capital, and American firms are more than happy to oblige. New plants spring up almost overnight, staffed by workers hungry for jobs, while deals are inked in distant boardrooms. For these corporations, it's not just about trimming costs, it's about staying alive in a fiercely competitive arena. The perks are simply too tempting to pass up. Meanwhile, back in the United States, the picture is much less rosy. American businesses are squeezed by rising expenses. Labor, materials, healthcare, you name it. Regulations keep piling up, creating a maze of red tape that eats away at time and profits. And let's be real, the political scene isn't exactly making things easier. Instead of working together, there's division, blame, and a sense that everyone's just looking out for themselves. The old spirit of "we're in this together" has given way to "every man for himself." For many companies, the decision is obvious. Go where the profits are, even if it means leaving a part of America behind. But behind every decision to cut costs, there's a real human toll. When a factory shuts down, It's not just a statistic. It's people losing their jobs and their sense of security. The consequences ripple outward. Families struggle to pay the bills, neighborhoods fall into decline, and local shops that depended on those workers are forced to close their doors. This isn't just theory, it's the reality for countless towns across the country. Places where families have lived for generations, building their lives and futures together. Now, in these towns, the American dream feels more distant than ever, almost out of reach. The consequences of these decisions stretch far beyond the walls of the factories themselves. John Deere's move could send tremors through agriculture, affecting everything from the cost of produce to what's available on grocery shelves. Ford's departure only deepens the woes of the auto industry, which is already battling supply chain disruptions and falling behind in innovation. This isn't simply a matter of seeking lower costs. It's a question of whether American manufacturing can sustain its legacy and vitality for the future. Even the famously unflappable world of high finance is starting to sweat. The stock market, which hates unpredictability, is now swinging wildly. Think less Wall Street, more emotional roller coaster. Confidence among investors is on shaky ground, and the future of the economy is about as murky as the Mississippi after a storm. This is the fallout when legendary American brands pack up and move their operations abroad. The message, whether deliberate or not, is clear. The American dream might be sputtering to a stop. Whenever jobs, the economy, and American identity are at stake, you can count on politicians to start pointing fingers. Former President Trump, true to form, has wasted no time assigning blame, targeting everyone from Democrats to China. On the right, conservatives claim that burdensome regulations and steep taxes are to blame. Meanwhile, liberals point to unchecked corporate power and the decline of worker protections as the real culprits. But as the blame gets tossed back and forth, it's the American worker who's left wondering if anyone is truly on their side. Let's not sugarcoat it. When all is said and done, it's the workers who pay the highest price. These are the people who have spent years, sometimes decades, helping to build these companies from the ground up, pouring in their hard work, their energy, and their pride into every product that rolls off the line. Now they're the ones stuck in the middle of this global economic battle. And the harsh reality? There just aren't many alternatives out there for them. For a lot of these families, factory work is the only real shot at a stable middle-class life. What does all of this say about the American dream? For decades, the American dream has stood as a beacon, the idea that through determination and effort, anyone could carve out a better future, own a home, and support their loved ones. But as we look at the landscape today, especially in towns that once thrived on industry, we have to wonder, is that dream slipping further away for many Americans? Has the dream simply taken a detour to distant low-wage countries? Or has it been boxed up and shipped abroad, along with the jobs that once sustained entire regions? Every time we spot a made-in label from another country, it's a sign of our global ties, but also a reminder that not everyone shares in the rewards of that connection. Or maybe it's a sign that the path to prosperity is rougher, longer, and veering away from America's heartland. For many, the journey toward a brighter future now feels unpredictable, with new hurdles that didn't exist before. Factories that once buzzed with life now sit empty, and the roads that once led to opportunity now seem to go nowhere. This story isn't just about Ford and John Deere. These brands are just the tip of the iceberg. The real impact is on the countless small businesses, suppliers, and families who relied on these industries. When a plant shuts down, it's more than just a building lost. It's a blow to a community's spirit, its history, and its hopes for the future. This is part of a bigger national conversation. What kind of future do we want to create together? How do we make sure opportunity isn't just a thing of the past, but something real for everyone, no matter their zip code? These questions go beyond economics. They're about our values, our sense of belonging, and our vision for America. We need to talk about the future of American manufacturing, about whether we can embrace new technology and global competition while still standing by American workers. Can we spark innovation and investment in our towns, or will automation and outsourcing keep changing the face of our communities? The question of what corporations owe to society is also on the table. Should companies focus only on profits for shareholders, or do they have a responsibility to the towns and people who help them succeed? As decisions are made in boardrooms, we have to ask, who gains and who gets left behind? And what are we willing to do to stand up for American workers? Are we ready to invest in education, job training, and fair pay? Will we back unions and policies that give workers a real say? Or will we watch as more jobs vanish and more families face hardship? Because if we don't start facing these tough questions, if we don't work together to find real answers, the fallout will be felt not just in deserted factories but in the lives of millions. The worry and doubt we see in our neighborhoods are signs of deeper problems that need our attention. The American dream could end up stalled in a traffic jam of our own making, unable to move forward. But if we're willing to confront these challenges, have honest discussions, and make bold decisions, there's still a chance to clear the way and keep the dream alive for generations yet to come.